Okay, thank you, Mr. Charles. Thank you.
The session is on recording. You know, I'm always with you guys in spirit. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. When you finish, let me know.
Yeah, sure. Okay, thank you.
All right.
Okay, so I'll start sharing my screen. For those who are just joining, I said I'm gonna put up my video. I'm gonna put up my video because the network is pretty bad. So I'm going to start from yesterday's class to tell us how to come up from Power Query into Power BI desktop. So I'll stop sharing my video. I'll share my screen first. Okay. So I'll go back into Power Query. So let me know if you can see my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay. All right. Okay, so this is all we did yesterday. And so now we want to, if you want to leave Power Query and then to bring it into this, so you can easily just do close and apply. So I'm going to show you there are two things I want to show you. So you do close and apply. So when you click on close and apply, if you click apply, it just applies the changes you've done and keeps you in Power Query. If you do close, it closes Power Query and it doesn't apply what you have done. And then if you do close and apply brings it into this. Because I've saved it before now, you know, it has to, because I've saved it, it's not doing like queries loading and things like that. So that's how this is. But this is not the best thing to do. So I'll go back into Power Query and show you the best thing to do. So remember, in our append, when we did append, we combined these three tables, right? And when we did merge, we combined these two tables, like the columns we wanted. So now, and then we have merge. Remember, we did two merge samples. So bringing this append 1, append 2, append 3, we don't need it, right? So we don't need it in Power Query. We don't need it in Power BI. So I'm just saying, because sometimes you might have to do append and merge before you start working on your data set. So you don't need to bring it into Power BI desktop, because it just makes your work, like the load that Power BI has to process a lot. So there's what we call disable. So these tables, I don't want to bring them in. So what I do, append 1, I right click, and I uncheck enable load. So it's saying disabling load will remove the table from the report, and any visuals that use its column will be broken. I'll say yes, continue. I don't want it. So once you disable load, it becomes like italicized. The query name becomes italicized. So you just uncheck it. When you right click, you uncheck enable load. So I'm going to do the same with this merge 1. I'm going to do the same merge 2, and I'm going to do the same with the first merged table. Yeah. Yeah, so I have this. So another thing you can also do is you can also decide to move them down. Let me see. Move to a group. So you can create a new group. and call it, so you can move it down, resize it, or just say disabled queries. Right? So you right click, move to disabled queries. So it's just, this is just to make it look good. Creating this group is just to make it look good. So this is what you want. So you can also do this grouping. Maybe you have lots of dimension tables and facts table, you can just clear it. So, and then I close and apply. So see what it was before. So I'm saying, yes, apply changes. So now, yes, so you can see because we did some changes, so it's loading, it's doing, this is what I want. And now we have this. So you have just a few data, you have fewer data into your Power BI desktop. So was that understood and easy? Understood? Okay, good. Hi, Blessing. You know we're going to speak today.
Yeah,
Just
good
okay.
evening. Please, can you
Good
take me through how you're able to create that folder?
Please now you just have to watch the video, okay?
Okay,
We've
okay,
not even started for today's class. Yes, please. It's very easy.
okay.
Just
All
watch the
right.
video. Thank you. Okay, thank you. I'll put up my video. My network keeps speaking some English. Okay, so so that's it for this. So I'm just going to open a blank report for today's class. And okay, I'm going to run through, while it's opening, I'm going to run through the note. So today we're going to talk about data modeling. And data modeling is a crucial step. I think you should read the note. You should, well, I hope you do. So this makes it a lot easier because they're just kind of a lot of concepts which you need to understand for data modeling, but it's easy. And this is basic data modeling, but there's also advanced data modeling when you do that with DAX and when you have lots of tables. So just pay attention. So data modeling is a crucial step in Power BI where raw data from multiple tables are structured, are structured into a logical and meaningful format. So this allows for efficient querying, analysis, and visualization. When you do your modeling well, it's a lot easier. Today, I'm going to, like I said, we're going to try to use a better marketplace data set. But I also need you to know that we're not giving you like a true picture because nobody gives you their data like freely like that. So that is a typical data marketplace data set, but we've tried to tweak names and some things, but then that's what it is because it's something you're going to put in your portfolio and we can't give you our data to put all out there. So that's what it is. So the data set we're using today, I'm going to show you when, and then in this note, you're going to work with when you bring in 3 different data sets. So let me say you have the sales data set, you have the customer data set, you have and then maybe different teams have different data sets and you bring them together to work with it. So I'm going to show you how you're going to create relationships with that. And then, but what we're working with today is just one data set. In a more advanced class, we can tell you how to split up the data. If you have one big table with lots of columns, so we can tell you you can figure out know how to split up the tables to have multiple tables. So our learning objective today is to understand the basics of data modeling, learn to import and connect multiple tables, build relationships between tables, create a star schema. There's a star schema and there's a snowflake schema. They say star schema is better, but to be honest, I don't know the difference between star schema and snowflakes. It's just how you arrange it. So that's it. Then you need to understand cardinality and cross-filtering direction and date tables. Date tables are usually taught differently because dates can be a lot, but I just want to make you understand that there's something very important called date tables. So key concepts. So we have data modeling components. We have tables. These are where containers for related data, right? So we have the so when we say tables, like customer, so everything about the customer is in that table. Sales, everything about the sales is there. Product, everything about the product is there. Manufacturer, everything about manufacturer is there. Things like that. So that's what tables are about. Relationships are now creating links between tables. Relationships, so they're like joins, you know. And then keys. So we have unique identifiers. We have the primary and the foreign keys. So the primary keys are in the table, like in the fact table, and then the foreign keys are like in the dimensional table. So those are, so when you find the primary key in this table, where it is in the other table, it becomes a foreign key. So for example, customer ID in customer table, it's a primary key in customer table. But then when you now have customer ID in sales table, it becomes a foreign key in sales table. So when you're trying to create your relationship, you're now linking the primary keys and the foreign keys. So those are the unique identifiers. So that's how it works. Then schema types, we have the star schema, preferred, and the snowflake schema. And like I said again, there's really not much difference between star schema and snowflake schema in practicality for me. Yeah, if you need to read it up, they say plenty of things. They say snowflakes is more complicated and blah 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 blah, but yeah, it's okay. So I'm just letting you know that it's something like that. So star schema, the central fact table with surrounding dimension table. So fact table, I remember we talked about fact table, and I remember saying is where the key business activities happen, where the key business activities, profit, sales, quantity, those things, those are the main business activities. So yes, those are the fact table. But when we are saying customer days, yeah, customers are important, products are that, but that doesn't really move the company for, that doesn't really make a lot of impact. So, but then when you, so like in a sales data set or like an e-commerce business or something like that, you know that, let us see our money. In fact, that's the whole thing about business. Let's see the money, let's see quantity. So let's see this, let's see this. That's why it's called the fact table. So in the star schema, the fact table is in the center and the dimension tables are all around it. But I think in the snowflakes, the fact, it's all the same thing. Star, like, you know, the shape of a star, and snowflakes, the shape of a snowflake. I still don't understand the difference, but let's leave it at that. So star schema simplifies reporting and improves performance. And so now we're going to look at cardinality. Cardinality is like, the beauty about Power BI is that Power BI creates this cardinality for you. So when you create relationships, it identifies that, okay, this is one-to-one, one-to-many, many-to-one, many-to-many, you know, things like that. So it's kind of like the join type in Power BI. So part one, we have one-to-many, which is good. So when you can see one-to-many. So is one record in table A relates to many in table B. So example, you have one product and you have many sales. You've sold it so many times in the sales table. So this product key is in the product table. There's just one product, you can't repeat it. But then when it comes to the sales table, there are lots and lots and lots of this product that has been sold. So that's how you have the one-to-many. And then when you do many-to-one and one-to-many is the same thing. It's just from where you joined it, right? Instead of joining from sales, if you create a relationship from sales to product, sales, that's where you have many. It's going to be many-to-one. But if you drag the relationship from product to sales, then it's going to switch and become one-to-many. So it's like the same thing. So many in table A relate to one in table B. So many orders and then one customer. So it just switches, right? And so you also know that in like the orders table, in the sales table, that's where you usually have your many fields. And then many to many is like a no. When you do many to many, you find out like you usually have duplicates in one of the tables. right? So like if you're having like some like a customer table, sometimes when you're splitting your tables, you see customer details and it's repeated, right? You don't split it. Maybe you took it out from the sales listing. But so when you take it to the customer table, it's good for you to remove duplicates. So you just have the unique values of the customers instead of the customer names repeating. So when you have things like this, that's when you usually have many to many. So the same thing applies to other tables too. And then one-to-one, this is very rare because you can't just have one customer having only one sale and things like that. So it's one record in this, one record in the other table. So this is very rare to see, one-to-one. So note says, use many-to-many relationships cautiously as they can complicate your calculations and visuals very well. Like your calculations can just keep running, and it's due to this kind of relationship, many-to-many, is bad. It's bad, very bad. Please, so try to avoid it. Try to avoid it, please. Yeah. Try to avoid it. Yeah. So then we have like the direction. So that one too, Power BI automatically does that for you. So when it creates the cardinality, many-to-one, one-to-many, and things like that, beside it, you also see the direction is single or both, and it has this icon. So when it's single, when the direction is single, it filters flow from one table to another flow. So which is how the left join is in SQL. And then if it's both, it filters flows both ways. So from the both tables, it can filter. So this is like inner join, and both can be very complicated. So it appears sparingly, and yeah. So and at this level, you really don't need that. So best practice, use single directional filters from dimension to facts table. So I always say dimension tables are like the categorical data, the ones that describe the business. So describes product, describes region, describes sale, no, not sales, describes customers, describes, yeah, something like that, describes any other thing, things like that. But then facts table is like the order table, the sales table, where the main business activities happen. Then it says only use bi-directional filtering when necessary for slicers or complex models. Yeah, so that's it. And then star versus snowflake schema. Okay, so if there's a central facts table, which is like the sales or order table, usually sales table is order tables, and then it's connected to several denormalized dimension tables. So all of them, there's a connection. We're going to see that. So advantages is a simpler structure. It works, it's faster. The queries are faster, they run faster, works better with Power BI visuals and DAX, yes. And so this is what it is. This is what like the star schema is. The facts table is at the center. And then the customer, you connect it, the product, you connect the territory, you connect the date, right? You connect it. And then, okay, then this is like the same thing. So the snowflakes normalize is just the same thing. They're just okay. Snowflakes is that everything doesn't directly connect to the sales table. So sometimes product can connect to category, and then maybe something in category links it to the sales table. Okay, I think that's more of the difference. And so disadvantages, more complex relationships, slower performance, harder to maintain. And then use case only use when data normalization is necessary or data comes that way from source system. Okay. So if you can't change it or you can try to make a relationship that makes it star schema, then it's okay to use this. But to be honest, there's really not a lot of difference. And then example, so this is how they set it up in the model view. You put the facts table down and you connect. But yeah, that's it. So now we're going to look at date table. Date table is very important. When you have your date table, some people can do what they're doing without creating a date table. But the date table helps you when you're creating time intelligence functions. And trust me, if you're working with sales data and things like that, whatever it is, data are really important. And then you can make lots of time intelligence function with DAX, with measures and things like that. So a date table contains all the dates within a specific range and supports accurate time-based analysis. So why you need a date table, it enables powerful time intelligence like year to date, month to date, previous year, things like that. Sales, finance people know all of this. And then it allows for custom date hierarchies. So you can create hierarchies and you can do drill downs and drill throughs, drill downs. We'll see that. Prevents errors with hitting auto-generated date tables. Yes. So if you don't create like a date tables and you try to use the one Power BI just finds for you and sets up for you, it can be very frustrating at times. So when you're doing your date table, always mark your date table as date table. You'll see that. So if you don't mark it as date table, Power BI will not recognize this as a date table, and what you're doing might not be working. So always, once you create your date table, mark it as date table. So you can select that here in the model view or in the. So always marking it as date table is in the table view. Yeah, that's where you can see it, and then you mark it when you create it. And then anytime you create your date table, always go and connect it to where you have your dates in your sales table or other table. Yeah, that's how it works. So we can see all that. So best practice for date tables, always create and mark a date table manually. Use one shared date table across your model. So one date table works across everything, because most of the time your date table, you're connecting it to your sales data. And sales data that's where you have the main date in your because set is the business thing. So like your order date, right? So you usually connect your date table to your order date. And then turn off auto date and time in Power BI settings for large data sets. Yes, you want to turn that off in your settings. So best practice summary, we talked about schemas, relationship, blah, blah, blah. We don't need to repeat that again. And as usual, we have examples here you can play around with. So these are different tables. You can bring it into copy, and bring it into Power BI and create your relationships. So any question very quickly, and then we go into the full business of today. Questions? None. Okay, thank you. None, right? None yet. Okay, thank you. Okay, so we're through with this. I'm going to close this, yesterday's business. Save. Okay, save. Okay, so now we have this very beautiful blank worksheet. And very quickly, I did share this data set just because we have it. And I just wanted to, before I bring in the Better Marketplace one, I just wanted to show us how we can do modeling we use this data set when we did the XLOOKUP project. So I'm just going to bring it in very quickly because there are different tables and to create a relationship with that. So when you go back, in our lesson notes, you can take the tables there to create your own relationship. So don't ask me where I got this from. So, and I didn't want to say it so you don't get all worked up. XLOOKUP project. Okay, let's do this. That was the file name, I remember. So remember we had location table, remember, and manufacturer, and products, and sale. Remember sale, we put all this so you could bring it in. So that's just what it is. So I'm just going to Power Query and remove those columns. And I'm not going to load because I want to go into Power Query, so I'll do transform data. So I'm holding this down to select everything I want out. And I remove columns. That's it. So I close and apply.
Sorry, Madam Chairman. Is it me? Your function keys are not showing.
My function keys are not showing.
I don't know if it's from my own end.
It's from your end, I guess.
From your end, I guess.
Okay. Thank you.
Jesus, what do I do?
So now I can see because there are different tables, so it's creating connections in the model. In the model, it's creating connections already. So like I always say, you always have to check you always have to check if the relationship you created is correct. So sometimes it's correct and sometimes it's not correct. Or you might just want to, some people in their setting, they disable like create relationships. So, but I didn't disable that. So we have relationships. I'm going to close this. So it already created relationships for us. So let me take this down, sales, so we can see. And we have product, we have manufacturer, and okay. Location. Why? What happened to location? Okay. I think location, I'm going back. I think location, the headers were not promoted. Yeah. So I'll promote header. Okay. Close and apply. So because it's only one table I edited or I changed, that's why it's one. And so now it has created the relationship for me. So if you just click on this, right? If you click on the link, it shows you the relationship zip and zip. It highlights it, zip and zip. So this is one, right? There's only one zip in the location. It's not repeated. And here in the sales table, there's a repetition. So it's many. So this is one to many. And from the products, so I think this is a snowflakes, because if it's a star, everything comes to the sales table. So, but manufacturer is connected to the product table. So this is definitely a snowflake schema. So when I click on product, so I can see product ID. Remember this data set. So the one is here. Why is this not showing? Okay, yeah, whatever. So this is one and this is many. And then manufacturer, there's one. And then in the product table, there are many because there were lots of things there. And then one manufacturer has many products. So that's how that works. And so if you don't want, you can delete the relationship and do it by yourself. So you just right click and delete. You say yes. And so you can do all of that. So now let's do manage relationships. So if they didn't create the relationship for you or you don't trust it, in the model view, you're going to have in the home page, you're going to see manage relationships. So you click manage relationships. And so from what table? So I want to create a new relationship, location and sales. So I click on new relationship. From what table? I want the location table. And to what table? I want the sales table. So now it's telling me country to country, many to many. No, I want zip to zip. Yeah. So now this is one to many. Is a single filtering. Make this relationship active. Yes, I want it active. So is that clear? How I created this relationship, is it understood? And then I click save. Yes, exit close. So now that relationship, yes, it was right and it created. So another way to create your relationships is, yes, delete. So I want to create this relationship between these two tables. So I'm going to take manufacturer ID and I put it on here, click and drag. Yes, that's what I want. It's one to many, is this. So if I do this to this, you can say it's many to one. But if I did it the other way, it was one to many. So it's like the same thing. And I click save. And that's it. So that's part of data modeling. Does this make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Yes.
I guess we'll understand it more
Okay.
when we watch the watch. Yeah.
Because you're understanding it now. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, you understand more. Okay, so when you have this, now I remember, so in the table view, you can click each table to see what you have in there. Click each table to see what you have in there. And so remember how you can do merge and put it all together if you want to. So that's by the way. And so now you can easily, let's build visuals. Let's build something. Let's put something. Let's see how that goes. Oh no, that's a lot. Let's do manufacturer. There's a category and yeah, so it's working well. So we don't need to put it together to create whatever it is. Yeah, that's a lot. And you can filter. We'll come later into filtering. Okay, it's only one country. Okay, so that's it for creating relationships. So when you want to know if your relationships are working, so you just quickly try to build the charts. Okay, that's it. I just wanted to show you how we're going to work with if we had lots of tables. So I'm going to open another one and bring in the data set of today. And so when I bring in the data set of today, that's where I'm also going to show you how to create a date table. Okay, I think I'm going to leave this. So maybe if we have small time, I can bring in the, I can also bring in a date table here for just extra practice. So I'll open a new blank report. I'm sorry, we need to extend the class today because we didn't start on time. We had some technical issues. So kindly bear with us. Okay, so we have this new data set. And so I'm just going to bring in very quickly, I'm going to bring in today's data set, and it's a CSV file. So I'm not clicking on Excel workbook. I'm clicking text CSV. And it's in, yeah. So I said I just want to use this, and I put it together because we didn't have all the time to start splitting it up. There is nothing to clean here. So I'm just going to load it, but please never just load directly if you're not sure of your data set, right? So I'm just going to bring it, I'm just going to load it. But always, always, always transform your data. But because this is a clean data set, there's nothing to do. Unless you can go and change your data types, but I cannot. But then I'm not going to show. I'm also going to show you how to do it in Power BI. So I'm not going to take it to Power Query. So there's nothing to create because it's just one data set. I think it just has to speak this language. So, but when we create the date table, we're going to create a relationship. So this is what our data set looks like. So when you click on the other dates now, so this is what it means here, date type. It tells you this is a date, yes, and you leave it that way because yes, it's the correct one. If you do date time, it's going to give you the date and the time. Okay, there's no time in this, so it doesn't, so date. But some other data set, when you bring it in, it puts in time. So, but usually that's very, it's just going to mess up your thing. Always leave your data set. If it's a date table, just leave it at date. If it's a date column, just leave the data type as date. So let's see, other IDs, text, customer name is text, customer ID text, gender text, quantity sold, yes. So I would need you to see something. So you could also do formatting, right? Numbers and all that. Yeah, one whole numbers, quantity sold, because you can't do 15.2 sales. No, it has to be whole numbers. And there's always a summarization. It shows you can do these aggregate functions, but you can see the text. If it's a text column, it shows you that no, that you can do summarization. Highest you can do counts, but no. So we leave it as this. And data category, we can get to data category. Yeah, it's trying to identify what kind of data is this. Postal code, barcode, no, it's not. So just leave it, it's uncategorized. So product category, yeah. Is there any, I'm trying to see, is there any filter or thing? Let me turn this to ascending. Okay. So unit cost, yes. So you can see there's a summarization and it has changed. It automatically recognizes it as a decimal number. And so you can decide if it's a currency or this. So if we put it as currency or decimal, currency is going to give us the Naira or whatever it is. But I don't like putting this till I'm ready. So I'm just going to remove it and put decimal or just general. You already know the data type is already saying is a decimal number. So that's what it is. Unit price, yeah, it's the same. Region, state, yeah. So, okay, we can do this as a state. We can say, yes, this is a state, province. And so when you put this as state or province, notice that on this data pane, it changes it to this globe thing. So it helps you with your, so when you're creating like a visual, a map visual, it tries to look for the location. But if you don't put this data category as state or province, it's not going to pick it. So region, yes, I hope it is able to pick this. Country, region, this might be tough, but let's just leave it at country, region, whatever, it's a location. Okay. So that's what it is. So we've brought in our data set and we understand that, and we can see, do we understand how to change our data types in Power BI Desktop instead of Power Query, which is the default place? Yep. Okay. And you understand the reason why you should put your location. So if you have things like city, country, yeah, city, country, things like that, you put that, you put the, choose whatever it is. that it is, and zip code, it shows you if it's a zip code and things like that. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is date table. What's this one? Okay. So date table. So sometimes people start creating their date table, right? Start creating their other dates values inside this long, and then they have one long data set, which is wrong and which is bad. And also, when you start doing your time intelligence function, it gets a bit confusing. So let me show you, for example, what people might do, or when you get your data set, it might be like that. So I'm trying to do, I'm trying to derive the year. So I click on this other date, and I click new column. And I want to get the year. So the name, so this phase is going to be the year. The name of the column is going to be year. And how do I get the year? I use the year function. IntelliSense has started IntelliSensing. For those that said there is no IntelliSense. So this is year, I pick year. And what do I want to do? Date. I want the date. The date column. No. So I'm going to do, this is the Better Marketplace thing. So I'm going to do Better Marketplace. So when you have these two, like single, is it single apostrophe, something like that? It means that is the table name. And then this square bracket is the column, anything in the column is the column name. So I want the order date. I want the date. Where is the date? I want the date. Order date. Okay. Yeah. So Better Marketplace sales data set order date. This is where I want you to derive from this column. From this Better Marketplace sales data table, I want you to derive the year from the order date. I'm just giving you this sample here so you know what it is. And then I want year, and I close it. 1990. How do you get to this? No. Oh, let's do this. Yeah. So it's going to derive the year. So the year here, and from this column, derive the year. So that is automatically done. And we can see we have 2024 and 2025. That's where our date is. So you can start doing that. You have to derive month, derive quarter, derive this, derive that, derive that. It's going to be a lot. And your time intelligence function is not going to be good. And then because when you put it in here, you don't remember, you can't mark it as a date table. So everything is going to be a date table. No, it can't be a date table. So I'm going to remove this. Delete. Yes. Okay. So now please pay attention. So there are so many ways to create a date table. So I'm just going to show you one, like the easiest one, which you don't need to type plenty of functions. So that's called the calendar auto. And then when you create, and then sometimes you work in bigger organizations already have like a date table. And so when they have this date table, you can just bring it in and create your relationships. So that's how it works. And so that's how it works. And then so these like very big corporations that have date tables. So in their date tables are really, 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 really robust, that it identifies holidays, it identifies, anniversaries, things like that. So when maybe you're having sales and something, or you're trying to do some analysis, it already shows you, oh, this was a holiday, or this was this, or this was that, or this was that. So it's very, very detailed. And then you don't have to set that up, and it's not something you do with Calendar Auto. It's already somewhere written in maybe mQuery, or it's just a something, and you just lift it and work with it. So now I'm going to click on this other date, and I'm in this table, right? Better Marketplace table. That's where, and what I want to do is a new table. I want a new table that I'm going to mark as my date table. So I click on new table. Once you click on this, it says, okay, do you want to create a new measure, a quick measure? That's like DAX things, or new column. New column is the one we did before when we wanted to do the year. But I want a new table because I want it out of this place to create my date table. So I'm going to click a new table. And so I'm going to call it dates. That's the name of the column I want, the table I want. And what am I going to do? I'm going to do calendar auto. Calendar auto. So what does calendar auto do? Returns a table with one column of dates calculated from the model automatically. So from what is existing, it's just going to calculate it. And so I click yes, calendar auto fiscal year. So maybe if your month starts in January or February, or you want to select where it is, maybe you want to know for just the accounting year, or you have other months in it, you can start putting the month number and things like that. So, but just leave it. So we're going to close it and enter. So you can see the formula, just calendar auto. This is IntelliSense. So calendar auto, open bracket, close bracket, and click enter. So now you have a date table. And when you do calendar auto, it usually starts from the beginning of the year. I think our data set starts from May, right? In May. So, but it starts from January, something like that. But then if we had put these figures and then it stays 5 or 4 or something, but just forget I mentioned that. But yeah, that's how it works. And so this date is giving me date and time. No, I don't want date and time. So I'm going to change it here, and it's just date. So I have my date table, and these are all distinct. Date tables are usually in the date column should be unique values. They should all be distinct values. They can't be repetition. When it's just repetition, you know it's not clean, so you need to remove duplicates. So you know that our data set was, I think 1,500 rows, but because when the date extracted itself, so it already just cleaned it up, and now we have 731. So what does it? It basically means that there were obviously on a particular day there were more. Maybe one day there are like 2, depending, more than 1 transaction. So that's why it was doubled or whatever it is. Okay, so now we have our date. So now we have a date table. We're glad we have a date table. And so I'm going to mark it as a date table. As the next thing, once you create it, please just remember to mark it as a date table and mark as a date table. So to enable the creation of date-related visuals, tables, and quick measures, using this table's date table, mark it as a date table. Keep in mind, any built-in date tables that are already associated with this table will be removed. Visuals or DAX expressions referring to them may break. Yes, so we haven't created any visuals or any DAX. So I'm going to mark this. I'm going to just slide the slider. So it's on now. And I choose my column. Yeah, that's the date column, date. So it says validated successfully. If you have duplicates, so maybe if it's a table, a date table you imported from somewhere and it has duplicates, or you created it somewhere, if it has duplicates, it will tell you cannot create it because it has duplicates. So you need to go and clean your duplicates or whatever it is. So now this tick says validated successfully, and we save. So we have our date table, good here. So now we have two tables, the date table and the Better Marketplace sales table. So, and then we'll continue creating the other things that come in the date table. So does this make sense? At least small sense. Does it make small sense? Okay, thank you. Okay, good. Then I'll go back into this. Yeah, okay. So now we have this. So now I want to create my, so from this date, I want to have a new column called year. So I'm going to create year, quarter, I'm going to derive it. So you just see how to derive it, because if you have the date and maybe you want to do something with month or something with days of the week, or something with a quarter, or something with a year, so it's easy for you to derive what you want to derive. So this is very simple. Just calm down and pay attention. I'm also going to calm down and write it. So we know that first, this is year. So when we do year, this first thing we write here and do the equal sign is the name of the column year. So how do I want? I want to have the year function. This year function returns the year of a date as a 4-digit integer. Yes, that's what I want. And I want the date. So now date, yes, this is the date table. So I wanted to derive it from the date table, the date column in the date table. So this is what I'm going to pick. The date column, to derive it from the date column in the date table. Yep. Yes, so we have this. So I'm going to add a new column and I want to get the quarter. Quarter. So I'm also going to use the quarter function. So quarter returns a number from 1. So like quarter 1 is January, February, March, and then quarter 4 like that. Yes, yeah, that's what I want. So I do quarter. And dates. Yeah, so I want you to derive it from the date of the date column in the date table. Yeah, so you can see quarter 1. So all these are January, February, March, right? And then just to test it, and I want to see values for quarter 4. Yeah, so these are December dates. December, November, October dates. Good. So I clear filter. So the next thing, I'm going to add a new column and I want to create, I want my month. So now the month can be tricky. So there are 2 months. So when I say month and I use the month, month returns a number. So now this returns a number from January to December. So 1 to 12 representing the month. So, okay, I'm going to take this. Yes. And then I say derive it from date. Okay. But now what I really want is, fine, this month is good, but I'm going to call this month number. So I want to have the month, I want to have the month as spelled out as text, right? So I want it as text. So, and there's something else. So with this month number, now this is 1, 2, 3, 1. We don't need any summary. We don't need to, when you check here, it says summarize it. No, we don't need, just don't summarize, no summarization. So it's not going to start treating it, start looking for what to add up, and no, there's nothing to summarize there. So I just changed it. So even the year, there's nothing to summarize. Yeah. Okay. So now new column, and I want it as text. So this is a bit different. So I'm going to do month. 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 Let me do long month because I'm going to do short month, and let me do long month. So I'm going to make it longer and shorter, remember. So if maybe your chart, your visual can't take the long name, so you can use the shorter one, depends on what you want. So now I'm going to do, so now the name is like month, but then I'm going to use the format. Convert the value of text in the specified number format. So yes, this is what I want you to format. And where do I want it to derive it? I want to derive from date of date. And how is this format? Because I want it to be the long month name, so I'm going to put it in quotes and M, that's 4 times, and I close it. Yep. So we have the long month. And I do the same thing for the short month. Short month, sorry, my laptop is overcharging. Okay, short month. So I want the short month and I do format. No, I made a mistake, yeah. Short month, so format, date, you derive date from date, and short month is just 3 M's. Close it. And remember your quotes, remember your commas, just like in Excel. Yeah, so now we have the short months. And what else do I want? I want the days of the week, okay? So days of the week, in case you want to do Monday, Tuesday, do people buy things more on the weekends or Monday or something like that? So this one, we also say day, and we also do format. So this is going to be a long day, I think. Yeah. So date, derived from date table. So I repeat it, and I want it for the short one. Okay, let me do short day. But then let me just do it. Since is usually 7 days, it might need to fit, but in case you want to. So we're doing short day and format, date of date. Good. And then new column. So this, I'm trying to do this, there's this month number and day number, that's weekday. So you're gonna see the usefulness of when we start doing why this month number and day of the week is important. So day, so let's do day of week number. Day of week number. So we're going to use day of week. Where is it again? We're going to use weekday. Weekday, yes. So weekday returns a number from 1 to 7, identifying the day of the week or the date. Yeah. So that's what I want. And I want date. Yeah, derive it from date of date. And then the return type. So 1, if you choose the return type is 1, it means Sunday is day 1 and then Saturday is day 7. If you choose 2, it means that your work week starts on Monday through Sunday. Sunday is the last day. And then, yeah, 0 to 6. So I'll choose 2 and I'll close it. Good. And yeah, I think that's it. And I think days of the month, you can also do days of the month. It depends on what you're analyzing. So day, month, day. Is it month, day or something? Month, day. Day, month. Okay, whatever. Day, month. Day, whatever. Let me change this first to short day so we're not. So I can come here and change the name, and I do long day. Oh, who are you, Brazilians? Long day. Okay. So this, I wanted it to be day. Is the so like the date first to the 20 something or 30th? Yeah, that's what I want. So I'm gonna pick day. So here we do day. So day does what? Returns a number from 1 to 31 representing the day of the month. Yes, that's what I want. And because I clicked, I haven't put, so that's why it's throwing up an error. So I want to derive it from date of date column, date table, date column. Yep. So I think this is enough for now. So some people can go and derive and say this is a weekday or a weekend and things like that. So I think you can also do an if statement with that, but that's none of our business for now. So we have two tables and we marked it as a date table. And then I come to the relationship and we try to create a relationship. So what do? So we manage relationship, create new relationship. So we just have two. So we have the date table and the marketplace, and why is this my other date always hiding? Okay. So yeah, date column and order dates. 1 to many, yeah, because it's this way, remember? 1, because this is this unique one, the date table, remember? And so it appears several times in this. So this is 1 to many, single, make relationship active, yes, and I save. Yes, and I close. So now we have a relationship. And I go back to my visuals to test what's okay. Before I test, easy peasy, right? Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Felix, I like that. Because why are you laughing? It's easy. I want to hear your voices to say it's easy. So it's not tomorrow you say I did not say it was not easy.
It is well.
Yeah?
This one is Excel's twin brother.
I mean, senior brother.
Same brother, senior brother.
Excel senior brother.
That's okay.
Excel 2.0. Because this one get power. Now even senior brother.
Exactly. Yes, power. You get power. You get power. Okay. All right. Thank you. So yeah, it's easy. Once you just get the syntax, it's very easy. So then once you create your date table, I think before I put up the notes, it's not in the notes. So I'm just going to write out this formula, and you can do that.
Please do. Thank you very much.
And so once you do it, it's always the same. Like it should always be the same when you're creating. Yeah, when you're creating simple tables, yes, it should always be the same. Okay, so that's it. So let's test our time intelligence function. Something to do with time. So I'm going to say, and time, I say I always prefer using the line chart. So I just click on the line chart here on the visual, yeah, line chart, area chart, blah, blah, blah. So I click the line chart, and what do I want to do? I want to see the year. We just have 1 or 2 years. So let's see quarter, a month. Okay, let me do month because I need to show you something. Let's do month, long month. Long month, and we want to see quantity sold. Let me close this so it's. Is this looking good? Hmm?
Yeah.
Does this make sense? Does this chart make sense?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah, it makes sense, even though the sales are dropped.
This is quantity sold. Do you notice any other thing that is a bit off?
Why is the sales dropping
Let me sort.
consistently?
So I sort by long month.
Yeah.
What's happening? What can you notice that is quite off?
The most started for September.
Let me do another chart. So we sort it out once. So now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do the same thing, line chart. And I'm going to take the day of the week. Day, long day. I take long day and I do quantity sold. I do quantity sold and right. You can see that the days are not coming in the sequence
Yeah, they are not sorted.
as it
They're not
should.
Yeah,
correct.
Yes,
right.
they're not sorted. Yes,
That's it.
exactly. What you're going to do for this, so you go into your table view, and so when you come here, you select the month, like the long month, and so when you select it, you can see here sort column by month number. So that's why we have month number. And then also short month, in case you're using short month, always sort it by month number. Long day, sort it by day of
Day.
week number. Yeah. And short day, sort by day of week number. Yeah. So let's go back to our visual and see. So now we go
December,
and
November.
sort like this. So long month, and it's doing descending. No, we want it to sort ascending. So now it's January, February, March, like that. And then you come to this, you sort by long day. Yeah. So does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So that is it for today.
Mm.
And thank you for
Wow.
attending TED Talk. So I'm going to take questions, and then tomorrow we'll continue with, we'll do next week, we'll do DAX, and then we'll do visualizations, and that's it. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you. Any question? I hope we don't have questions.
I don't even know where to start asking the question.
Yeah, I think we all have to go and
Oh, said
So,
Chidi.
I would rather
I
wait
was running
till
too
first.
fast. I'm sorry. Chidi,
You
I'm
know-
sorry. Please, next time, just
No, we all
maybe
have
speak up.
questions.
Because I rarely read the chat. Okay, questions quickly, so we can stop recording.
I guess the questions will come when we must
I'll
have
just
tried-
sorry, I'll
gone
just take
through
one
the-
question, then I'll stop recording, and then we can do the others outside the recording. Okay. Ogochukwu, you were saying something, please.
I was saying maybe questions will come when we must have gone through the recorded class and
Okay. Okay. Godson.
Yes, my question is this. It seems with the good knowledge of Power BI, one can completely become a data analyst. Even when there is no sufficient knowledge of Excel, because it seems that everything that Excel can do can also be performed by Power BI. I hope I'm in order.
Yes, you're in order.
Okay,
Yes, you're in
so
order because so for Microsoft to Microsoft's certificate on, what was that certification? Microsoft Data Analyst Associate is just Power BI. So if you say you have a Microsoft certification on data analysis, it's
Okay.
just Power BI PL 300.
Okay.
So that's what it is. Yeah.
Okay. So certified
So it is
Power BI, Microsoft Power BI is an analyst.
Yes, this thing is MCDAA, and it means Microsoft Certified Data Analyst Associate.
Thank you.
So once you get that certification, yeah, you're a data analyst. You're a certified data analyst.
Thank you.
Yep. Blessings.
Yes. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Madam Chairman.
Good evening.
It's like Ngozi was in my heart to ask the same question.
Okay. You know what? Since we're like talking outside what of today's lesson, let me tell Mr. Charles to stop recording so we could just continue. So it's the video is not so long when they are watching. Good.
Okay. Okay. Another question there is how can one get certified on this Power BI?
Wait, hold on. Let me call Mr. Charles' attention. Hold on.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Hi, Blessing. Okay, sorry. Yeah, I've notified him to stop the recording, but we might just keep talking because yeah. Blessing. So continue. What's your question?
Okay, my question is, how can one get certified as a data analyst?
The certification exam, I think, and then you go to
Yeah.
Microsoft Learn. Yeah, so you go to Microsoft Learn and you check PL 300. They have like a reading plan.